Yeah, it's been a while. Hi guys! I'm back. I don't know. Man, I have been working so much lately, and when I'm not working, I'm just doing stuff. I don't really give myself time to do stuff like YouTube videos, but I kind of have some time right now. This video might be kind of boring, although I'm not really sure why exactly, but it's just about the second time that I saw 21 Pilots. I've been wanting to continue my 21 Pilots storytime, concert, whatever, blah 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 videos. So yeah, where do I begin with this one? It was back in September, and again it was in Toronto, and it was at the shittiest fucking venue ever. I cannot tell you how much I hate Sound Academy, and I have never heard anybody ever say that they like the Sound Academy venue. I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of the Sound Academy. So in Toronto, there's like the Lakeshore, right? Now, there's like a main street that kind of goes near it, and then there's a tiny little side street kind of in the middle of nowhere, and down that little street is where the Sound Academy is. And the only kind of food, shopping center, whatever, is like near it is a T&T supermarket, so it's like an Asian grocery store kind of thing. And that's all that's around it. Plus it's right beside the water, and if you know anything about being beside the water in the fall, it's just usually pretty cold, like colder than away from the water. This is gonna kind of come into play when I get to a little story. Julia and I went, and we got there around, I think like 8:30 in the morning, 8:30, yeah, around that time, and the weather was freezing cold. In Canada, I know like everybody kind of assumes that it's always cold there. Me saying that it was cold in the beginning of September is kind of like, yeah, it's Canada, Caitlin, and I'm like, okay, true. In Canada, it doesn't really start to get that cold until like end of September, mid-October kind of time. The 21 Pilots concert was on September 13th, and every day up to that was still really freaking hot, like we were still in summer weather. But this day it decided to drop to 13 degrees, and it was gonna rain and be windy as fuck all day. So of course you can see how that would kind of put a tamper on your mood when you're about to wait in line for 12 hours next to the lake shore when it's gonna be cold. So it was freezing. We didn't bring our winter jackets, which would have been ideal in this kind of weather. I cannot tell you how many times the weather has fucked me over when I've been waiting in line, especially for 21 Pilots. So we get there, we're tired. Why are we tired? It was because we kind of stayed up until like 4 a.m. the night before. There were already at least like 100 people in line when we got there, which was not too bad, but when it's the Sound Academy, fucking awful. Next, let's keep going. Alright, I started to film people to do that 21 Pilots, like the Toronto tour diary, whatever you want to call it, and it was a little awkward at first because like I didn't really know what I was gonna ask people and what I wanted to talk about, and it was just kind of weird. So the first few people it was awkward, but a lot of people, like, as I saw what I was doing, they were like, oh, here, I want to talk, and like they were just so like open and free to talking. I don't know, it was really friggin' cool. And like I like said before in my other videos, whatever, like I loved doing that. I met a lot of cool people. Everybody was just so nice, and like I'm still so shocked by how open everybody was with talking about it. I don't know why I'm explaining this. You can just go and watch the video and you can just see it all for yourself. The Toronto clique that day was just like another like thing about that day that was like really cool. And this is also just me kind of being like the big egotistic kind of internet person that I am, but I was kind of hoping that some people would recognize me from the internet, like mostly from Tumblr and like my TOPAF videos. And honestly, like a bunch of people did come up to me and like, hey, I recognize you, and I don't know, that was just really cool. Somebody just commented on one of my YouTube videos saying, I miss your vids, please make more. I'm like, okay girl, I'm doing it right now for you. Let's see what else. Oh, duh, how could I forget about that? Before getting to the concert, I had wanted to buy red socks because obviously you have to wear socks to a 21 Pilots concert, otherwise who the hell are you? But I couldn't find any anywhere. I went to Walmart, I went to the dollar store, I went to Shoppers Drug Mart, I went to like clothing stores, and they didn't have any like plain red socks, and I was like, okay, whatever. Halfway through the day, we needed to use the washroom and wanted to get like water and snacks or whatever, so we went to the TNT, and it's literally like a grocery store. But as I was in line, there was like a bin of socks, and there was one pair of red socks, so I snatched those up real quick. And I never thought that I would find a pair of red socks at a TNT, out of all places. As we were coming back from the TNT, there was a huge group near the front-ish of the line, and lo and behold, it was Mark Eshelman. And is that how you pronounce his last name? I feel like I never say it out loud, and now that I'm saying it, I think I'm saying it wrong. Mark Eshelman, that sounds right. But anyways, if you don't know him, he's in charge of Real Bear Media, which is like the media group that does the photos and the tour recaps for 21 Pilots, and honestly all their stuff is really amazing, and Mark is like the genius behind all of it. And he was out there like talking to people, and I don't know, it was just pretty cool just watching him like interview people and get to see what he does live in action. Can you guys stop? And then he's kind of like looking around to see if like anybody has something to say, and he turns and he stops at me and he's like, "You look interesting." And I'm telling you, I guess I did look pretty interesting, because wow, what was I wearing? Well, I was wearing the red socks and black pants, whatever, which is normal, and my 21 Pilot sweater. But I also was wearing like the same floral kimono that Tyler has. I was wearing that over my sweater, and then I was wearing like my flag right here. I was wearing it as a cape. So I just looked overall pretty interesting. So then, I don't know, Mark, he didn't like interview me, but I just started saying, I was like, oh yeah, I got like all the essentials. I don't even know what I was saying. I was just like so excited that he kind of like spotted me and picked me out of the group, and I was like strutting my stuff. And he put that little bit in the Toronto recap, and he obviously like didn't keep what I was saying in there because it wasn't good, but you can see me just like I don't know, I thought it was really funny. Also, one thing about this concert that's just always triggering, it's right after my mom cut my hair. This is a completely other story, but I asked my mom to cut my hair to like just above my shoulder, so like kind of how it is when it's curled right now. But when she cut it up to my chin, like literally right here. So I wasn't a big fan of my hair, and I hated that it made it into the video, but also pretty excited that I made it into the video. That also doesn't help my ego. As we're like going inside, I kept looking at Julia and my eyes were like watering, and I'm like, oh my god, because all I was thinking about, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna open with Heavy Dirty Soul, like that's pretty cool. And then I'm like, they're gonna open, they're gonna play music in front of my eyeballs, and I was just so excited because it'd been over a year since the last time I saw them. Like a year and a half almost since the last time I saw them, so I just kept like looking at Julia and like trying not to cry, because I'm somebody who doesn't really cry in public. And not that like, oh, I can't cry in public, it's just like my mind knows when I'm in public, and like, girl, you can't do that, you gotta suck back those tears. So if I ever do cry in public, just know that it's a really emotional thing for me, like, because I just don't cry in public. But this night I kind of cried a lot in public, but I'll get to that. We got let inside, and I would say we were maybe 6 rows back, 6 or 7, because I wanted to be right in the middle. I knew we weren't gonna get very close, but I wanted to stay in the middle because I just wanted to be in the middle, you know? And this is where my safety brain is gonna come in again and just like preach to you guys about concert safety and pit safety. The show hadn't even started, none of the openers had come out yet, and I was already starting to feel a bit of a push just as people were coming inside. And from being the internet, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but just me being somebody who's constantly on the internet and like looking up stuff for like concerts and whatever, I like saw a lot of people posting about how the crowd was really bad at their show for like 21 Pilots, and I saw so many posts about how bad the crowd had gotten since like before the Blurry Face album even came out. So I was pretty prepared, but I'm like usually totally fine in concerts. So me and Julia were beside each other, obviously, but the first opener was Finish Ticket, and they're pretty small band. They changed the set for the second opener like super fast, and at this, like during that time, me and Julia kind of got a bit split up. So there was maybe like 1 or 2 people between us, and I'm usually like totally fine with that. Like obviously I know where Julia was, and it's a concert, like what bad could happen. The second opener was the band Echo Smith. If you don't know Echo Smith, they have that one song that's like, "Wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids." As like their set kept going, like Julia got like farther away from me, or I don't even know if she got farther away from me, but I lost sight of her. And again, usually I'd be fine with that, but there was a girl in front of me and she had long, big, beautiful, curly hair. I was getting all of her hair into my mouth. Me being as short as I am and being as squished as I was at this point, like 21 Pilots hadn't even come out and I was already being squished and having like hair in my throat, and I couldn't breathe. I was literally, and I'm not joking when I say this, the entire Echo Smith set, I was holding in my tears. I was trying not to freak out. I was like having a hard time breathing, not just because there was hair in my mouth, but because it was so hot and I had lost Julia, which again, like I'm usually fine with, but I was just freaking out. And then I asked this girl beside me, because I'm just like, I have no idea where Julia is, I need her here now. So I asked this girl beside me, I'm like, can you just shout out the name Julia? Like, can you just shout out for Julia? So she like kind of gives me a look, and then she turns to the side and she goes in the quietest voice, she's like, "Julia." And then I'm like waiting for her to yell Julia again, or for Julia to pop out her head, and this girl turns back to me and she's like laughing. She's laughing. She's like, "It would help if I knew who Julia was." I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm just being like petty now, but I'm like, what the fuck is this girl's problem? So I'm trying to yell for Julia myself, but I can't because I can't breathe, and my heart's beating so fast. And eventually Echo Smith ended, the crowd's still like being crazy, and then I find Julia and she literally pulls me, like as if she's like pulling me through a hole that's too small. Because to be honest, there was no space for me to get pulled through, but she just pulled me and yanked me. And this part was kind of funny, but I kind of start like crying, and I'm like, I tell her, I'm like, I don't know if she heard me. I was like, that was so scary, and I was just like crying and like kind of, I was like having a panic attack a little bit, although like I don't know if that counts as a panic attack, but I was having whatever I was having. And Julia was like, yeah, I guess I can confirm that she didn't know what I was saying, because she's like, "Oh, are you excited?" I'm like, yeah, I am, but also I just almost died in there. So I finally like recuperated myself. Me and Julia, we knew that like we just had to hold on to each other for the entire concert. Let's just jump into the actual concert. The lights go down. I'm freaking out. It was kind of hard to see anything. And you know, like when shows begin, everybody just starts screaming, and then their screams get more intense. And that's usually when you know that somebody's on stage now. And I just couldn't see anything, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? But I was so excited, and I was like, Heavy Dirty Soul, let's do this, right? I was just like, let's do this! The first 2.5 songs, the crowd was like swaying, and I literally had no control of where I was going, but me and Julia were just like latching onto each other. We're like, this is so exciting, like recording and everything, and like as I say it now, it's funny, but it was such a mess. There was no control in where we were going, and we could not like stop moving, so we're just like, oh, can you save my heavy dirty soul? I was so prepared for Tyler to do his Heavy Dirty Soul death drop, and if you don't know what that is, maybe look it up in a dictionary, because I'm sure it's under the words Heavy Dirty Soul death drop. But and he didn't do it, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't wait 12 hours for this. So I left, and then I didn't see the rest of the concert. Just kidding. That wasn't funny at all. So we get to the song Guns for Hands, and the way that we got pushed, this girl kind of... I need to get my purse to do this. So I had this purse with me, and I think I was wearing it... Yes, I was wearing it on this shoulder. So the way we got pushed, I don't even know how it happened, but this girl got in my purse strap. So as I was wearing it like this, she got her arm in it and was wearing it like this. don't know. I'm not exactly sure how her arm was in it, but me and her were sharing my purse. She was in this with me, like her one arm. And I'm trying to get it out, but I obviously can't because I cannot control this girl's arms. So I started like yelling at her, not like rude, I'm just yelling because it's a concert and it's loud. And I'm like, "You're wearing my purse," and I'm yelling, and she's like just giving me these dirty looks like I'm just being a bitch. And I'm like, I get that that's how this is translating, but I'm just yelling at you to get your arm out of my purse because frankly I don't really feel like sharing it with you during this experience. So eventually she kind of understands what I'm saying, and we're just like contorting our bodies so that we can like not punch each other in the face and like not hit anybody else, and also get her arm out, but also like not me losing my purse. And oh man, it was just a mess. So I missed like half of the song Guns for Hands because I was sharing my purse with some other girl, and that was a little disappointing to say the least. There was the thing where, you know how like Tyler does like a little talking thing at one point during the show? Well, when he did that, Josh like came around from his drums and then just sat up on the piano with Tyler, and like it was super cute. And I put a little clip of it into my other concerts video, like the Concerts Are Fun video, so I'm not gonna include it in here, but it was there. And obviously I was freaking out because it was so damn cute. So yeah, it was just like a really freaking good concert. I cried so much. Oh, okay. I cried when Tyler says "Josh done" in The Judge. I was literally fine during the whole song, and then I'm like, oh boy, he about to do it. And I just started to look at Julia and I'm crying and I'm like, "Josh done." And I'm not even kidding you when I say I cried during that. Oh, the entire old song medley, I was crying. And I just bawled even harder when like the Attic with the Pen part came on, because I didn't realize they were gonna do like basically in the entirety of Attic with a Pen. So that was pretty emotional for me. At one point Julia just took my phone and recorded like the last 3 songs for me. But during Goner she had my phone and was recording. I had the FPE, Few Proud Emotional sign, in my other hand, and me and Julia are holding hands, bawling and singing Goner and just screaming, and it was so good, and it was such like a good moment between me and Julia. We were just, oh, it was so cute, and it was so, I don't know how to explain it. Have you ever seen Goner live? Do you know what that shit does to you? And then the Trees finale happened, and man, we tried to get out of there as fast as possible. Okay, this is where I tell the story of how I almost met Josh Dun. So me telling the story about how I almost met Josh Dun was actually quite long, and I didn't want to keep that in this already ridiculously long video, so I just made a separate video for it, and I'll link it here, right now. Okay, here's the story of where I met Josh Dun. Okay, and now we're gonna continue back to the rest of the other video. Wow, I hate myself. So that was the second time I saw 21 Pilots. I'm so sorry for not posting videos as frequently, and I can see that my camera's about to run out of space, so I'm just gonna kind of say this really fast. I'm really gonna try my best to make a lot of videos. I have a new place, or I just signed a lease to an apartment in Toronto, and I'm gonna be living with Simona and Julia and their friend from school, and we're just gonna have a hoot. So I think I'm gonna be able to make a lot of videos during the school year, so I think that'll kind of make up for this schlump that I'm in. And again, I'm like really sorry for not like posting as frequently as I wanted to, but I'm definitely gonna make up for it. Like, I'm almost at 5,000 subscribers, which is pretty exciting. And so yeah, I'm almost at that. Okay, it's about to really run out. Oh, okay. Okay.